What's up, everybody? It is. Welcome to the stream. I'm Elf Sutton. If you don't know who I am, it's probably because I haven't been here for a very long time. Um, yeah, we gotta fix that glare. That glare gotta get fixed. Let me fix that glare here in a few minutes. But welcome to the stream. As you can tell, we're doing things a tiny bit differently this time. We did things on the PlayStation Plus on the PlayStation before, and we don't have to quite do that anymore. We now have a new setup. We're going to play. The main game we're going to be playing now is going to be no, we're still going to do the Elder Scrolls Online. Don't worry, that's still going to be there once in a while. That is not going to be a problem. The main game that we're going to be streaming right now is going to be Football Manager 2024. This time of year, we'd usually be going for 2025, but unfortunately, they had to cancel that this year because of some issues. They're changing over to the Unity engine, and it didn't quite go the way they wanted it to, so they delayed it. It'll be a new one out in the fall. Don't know if I'll have it by then, but depends on what system we get to by then. Gonna be some new things. There's gonna be some fun things. Hopefully, we're still gonna do this through Twitch. So it's going to be fun. If you've never seen Football Manager, this is a football, a soccer in America or football around the world football game. We do this to. Hang on 1 second. It is the fun part of the game. We're going to get into a bunch of stuff. We're going to have some fun with it. And it will hopefully be a lot of fun. There's going to be some extra stuff going on. We're going to do all kind of stuff down in the future. Hold on, making sure you can hear me. Yeah. All right. So that's good. We can hear on there, and I need to make sure it works. So bear with me, guys. I'm new to this. I've been streaming off and on for quite some time, but unfortunately, due to health issues, I had to take a break. I am back. Today I was supposed to start this on Monday, and my capture card wasn't the right thing, and then I ordered what I thought was going to be the replacement, which was here 2 days ago, which was not the replacement I needed. So I had to order another one, and I got it today. About 20 minutes ago, with my son's help, we got this all set up. We're good to go. I've already set up my league. That takes a while, even on this computer, which is better than the other one that I'm actually using the OBS on. We will. I've loaded some leagues, and those leagues are. Let me go ahead and I'll show you what we got going here. Let's see. Game status. So we are using the Pakistani league. Do me a favor and pull that window blind down.
Little red square things are there.
Huh?
The red square things that you had, they're there.
What are you talking about?
Like telling you all your subs, all your donations, and all that stuff is on your screen.
I don't. Okay, that's good.
It's fantastic, by the way.
Oh, cool. I don't know. It doesn't show up on here, so I don't know how to do that. But will you do me a favor and close that blind? Put it all the way down. My son's doing some fixing for me. Just pull it that way. No, you gotta just grab. There you go. Perfect. That was perfect. There you go. Hey, look, I can actually see myself now. Whoa! Hey, how do you like that? All right, so just to let you guys know, these are the team. This is the league I set up. There are different areas that you can be in the football world. You have Oceania and Asia and Europe and Africa and North and South America, and there are a ton of leagues that you can use in this game. Unfortunately, I can't because my computers are 2009 computers. They're old. They're not great, but we are going to be using. I try to choose. What I do is I randomly choose a place from each area that we're in, and I take one team. So in we are using the Pakistani league. I have downloaded a different USA league because I can't stand the MLS. It's too difficult to do. This has all the way down through USL2. Somebody redid it and made it nice. So there's the US league. We have England, which is one I'm in. We are from the 12th level up. There's Brazil, Series C and up, Reunion, which is Regional 3 and above, and Tuvalu. Those are the areas that we're going to have teams that we can go to and play in. I am starting in a team in England in the 12th division. It's called Sutton Select. They play in the Birmingham and District League Premier Division. Now, basically, you don't play the games. The games will play. I won't play the preseason games. I don't play any of the preseason games. And there are a lot of people out there that do this game. They do this game. They play this game. Some of the guys like Zealand and Omega Luke and his father and Tom FM and Dr. Benji and Work the Space and all these other people that do this is where I get a lot of stuff I get from. Stinger. There's a bunch of people that you can watch that do this. Zealand is from somewhere in the Northeast. I'm not going to tell you where he's from because if you've ever watched his stream, you already know that. So, but he's one of my favorites to watch because he does a bunch of stuff. And a lot of these guys do this in, they do it where they do on YouTube and they stream on stream, but they do different things like they do rebuilds of a certain team. And before I couldn't do that with the computer I'm doing as my OBS computer because it was too slow. It would play the game, but it wouldn't do it fast enough to like, normally when you do that, what you do is you take a team, you take control of it, and then you will simulate through the first season. Okay, you'll simulate through each season. It takes 45 minutes per season on my computer that I'm playing the game on. So that's a good thing. That means that I go out and I can do these YouTube videos like they do. I mean, you can watch, you go on YouTube and you look up Football Manager 2024, you're going to find so much stuff. And there's a lot of stuff I'm going to do in the future, but I'm just getting my feet wet with this league. We're going to do this from here. We're going to start with this team, Sutton Select. I'm going to go, this is going to be a day-by-day thing. It's not going to be a short time. We're going to stream for as long as we can each day. It's good for me because I don't have to work my elbow, my shoulders, which is still in a lot of pain, and I still have neck problems. If you see me kind of make a weird cringe, it's because my neck, the muscle that runs up the back of my neck is like really, really tight, and I'm still trying to find out what's going on with that. But this is a great setup. There may be opportunity to do other games. Right now, we're going to play Football Manager. There will be days where I'll be on the PlayStation doing the Elder Scrolls Online like I was before because there's new stuff coming out next month, and we'll probably do some stuff around that time too. But I'm going to try to do everything. We'll eventually be doing stuff on YouTube. But let's get into the game. Like I said, we're starting with a team called Sutton Select. They are in the Birmingham District and District League Premier Division in the 12th league. That means that there are 11 leagues between them and the Premiership. And the object of this game is to try to go all the way up to the Premier League. It's going to take, at the minimum, it will take 12 seasons. Depending on how long I stream, I'm going to try to do it end it in the middle of at the end of a month instead of trying to end it in the middle. It depends on what goes on. I know that using the computer that's beside my desk right here, that's off to this side, that I keep glancing at, is the one that I have for my, I use the one offline. I'm playing a league that is just unbelievable. I'm playing a team called Bishop Thorpe White Rose, and they are tearing it up. They're already in 3 seasons in 20 hours. 3 seasons it took me to do 20 hours to do 3 seasons. They are just kicking ass everywhere, and it's one of those things where we do what we got to do, and hopefully we're going to do the same thing with this team. I don't play this game like other people do. I do a lot of things that I know for a fact that if Zealand watches my stream, he'll hate because I don't necessarily, I rely on my, you have coaches, you have every coach you can think of. You have physios, you have scouts, you have goalkeeping coaches and physical coaches, and you have all these different people that you get, and you have them, and if you're not going to use them, what's the point in having them? I don't need them to tell me stuff about my team that I can physically see myself by looking at the stats or looking at their individual ratings. This is not like Football Manager. This is not like FM24. You're not going to see FC 24, I should say. It's not like the EA game. It doesn't. You don't control the game. You do all the tradings and stuff like that. On that point, it's not exactly the most realistic, because in realistic football, a coach might influence some of the trading and thing and who they bring into the club, but for the most part, they're not going to have total control, which you do, which is, it's cool. You can set it up that way. I mean, there are so many different things you can do with this game. It is definitely an open world game. You can have a lot of fun with it. If you and the base game comes with probably 40. I've never counted them. I don't know if the real number, but there could be, like, I think there's like 40 different leagues all over the world you can play in. You have the major leagues like England and Ireland and Italy and Spain and Portugal and France and Germany, and you have other places outside of that. You have the MLS, you have the Canadian League, you have the Mexican League. In Brazil, you have the Brazilian League, you have Colombia, all these different places. And there are things called the Glory Hunter. They do what's called a Glory Hunter save, where you try to win the top 5 leagues, all the titles, or you win their top trophy and the Champions League and the Europa League and the major titles in the 5 top, which would be Italy, Spain, England, Germany, and they include Portugal. Am I forgetting anybody? England, Spain, Italy, Germany, and Portugal. Those are the ones people most of the time do. You can do it any way you want to, and there are so many mods that are out there. I don't have the names of the mods that I'm using. I will probably look those up so that I can mention them, because there are a ton of people out there that do a lot of great work to make this game unbelievably fun. You can add, I think I've added 183 leagues that aren't playable in the game that are now playable. You've got places like a couple of the ones, the Pakistani League I don't believe was in there. Tuvalu might be playable, but I'm not sure. Reunion I definitely know is not. So we're playing in the USA League that I've gotten is a restructured league that has pro rel, and you don't have to worry about being in the same thing. So it's pretty cool. They've even gotten to the point where there are now people doing mods to the actual gameplay that make the gameplay different. And I don't use any of those. I like the way it plays now. It isn't the most going to be exactly the greatest, most realistic thing. You're going to see some things maybe that you're going to go, what the hell was that? And why did it do that? And it's just the game. I don't argue with it. I do try to, like, in the lower leagues especially, you don't have any, they're not, this is not a team that has they're amateurs. So they're going to have no contracts. You don't have a contract. Your coaches don't have a contract. Great thing about that is if you have a player that's giving you an issue that you no longer need, you can get rid of them and it doesn't cost you anything. Bad part about that is if somebody comes for them or they want to move on, they can just leave and not a thing you can do about it. Not usually, some teams in the lower leagues, if you win the first, like if we go through and we win this division, there's only 8 teams in the division. So that means we're only going to play 16 games. So that means there's going to be long stretches. There's 12. So that means we're going to get 22 games. We're going to go up against the teams like AFC Summers, Alva Church Reserves, Berman CPA, Crown CR, Old Wolferins, Pulsar and Citadel, and Sutton United Reserve, which is, I believe, the Sutton United that is in the 2nd division when they start this. I'm going with the database out of the box, except for the add-ons. I'm not adding any of the new stuff. We're starting in the July, if you see the date up there, it's July 2nd, July 3rd of 2023. So we're 2 years behind in this when we're starting. But once we get moving, there's going to be players that'll be on teams where they were at this time. They didn't move on. Now, there's going to be a couple teams in this that won't be able to move up. Like Alva Church Reserves probably won't be able to advance. Sutton United Reserves probably won't be able to advance. The Wake G Reserves at the bottom probably won't be able to advance. It depends on if their main teams are the league above. Now, I'll have, we're going to go through, we're going to look at all our team, we're going to do all this stuff, we're going to get started on that. But you'll play 22 games, you play each other twice. There may be, I don't think there is in this division. No, this is it. We'll play 22 games. I will set up some friendlies. There might be a time during the regular season you set up friendlies because when you're an amateur team, you only get like 2 days a week you can practice. So you don't get a whole bunch of time to practice. You don't get a whole bunch of time to run around and do everything that you want to do, and you don't get to do this. And there's a lot of stuff that you have to watch and try to do because it's the only way to get it done. And it's cool, and it's fun, and there's a lot of things about it. But the the great thing about it is that this game is a game that you do what you want to do, how you want to do it, and that's it. You don't have to worry about doing things the way other people do. You know, there are people who actually manage every single game, including the friendlies, which is a pain in the butt because you don't. I mean, you sit there, you watch your team run through and just play in no competition. I don't like to do that because I don't need to know, like a lot of people, how do you do that and not know how your team's going to do, man? You can't watch the team and not watch the friendlies. I don't need to because the friendlies, what they do in the game, can pick up from their stats, and I've been playing this game. This game has been around since like the mid-90s. I don't remember the exact first, well, actually, yeah, mid-90s. I don't remember the first one I ever played. I think I played 94. And it wasn't called Football Manager, and it was called Championship Manager. And then it grew, and I remember I played in 99, 2000, and then they switched over, and then for a little while I didn't have a computer, and then I started playing. I think they changed over to, there's different views that you can watch the games in. You can watch the game in 3D view, which is, it shows you the game. And you're going to see some weird shit happen in there. And it's cool because it makes it so much fun to watch because you will see bicycle kicks. You won't see a lot of like the dribbling that you would see in real life and that kind of stuff, at least not on the normal on the normal game engine, because you got to understand there's a lot of stuff that goes into this. Some of the newer game engines that you can download and use do have some of that stuff that shows up, but you will see bicycle kicks. You will see own goals that were made from a back pass that the goalkeeper missed, and then he'll run to try to catch the ball and fall on the ground and miss it, and it'll roll into the thing. And you're going to see a lot of stuff that is crazy, but it's fun because it makes the game interesting. And a lot of times it's not just necessarily the game and what you do in it that makes the game fun and interesting. It's the stories that develop outside of that. Now you're gonna you'll see a thing where if you don't know like a star player, there are a lot of star players out there like Kylian Mbappe and Lamine Yamal and guys that I will never touch on this team because I'm 12 divisions down and you're 7 divisions almost. You're 8 divisions from being in the. Let's see, you got Premier, Championship 1 and 2, so you're 8 divisions below being in the football league in England. This league that I actually have for this file will actually go down to league level 20. And you can start with teams in level 20, and there's usually like 6 to 8 teams in each of those divisions. You played so many games. The biggest difference that you'll find in leagues like this is when you're setting it up is you have players. A lot of times when you watch these guys play, they'll sell people at 30 years old. I don't do that. I don't do that because I don't do that because I've found through playing this game and doing these lower league saves that, especially in the lower leagues, I've had 43-year-old goalkeepers that have been shutout machines. They've clean sheets like crazy. And a lot of times, like as we go along, you'll see like they're not rated with an overall rating. They're rated with a star rating. You'll see a current rating or current star value, and you'll see a potential star value. And to be honest with you, the star value is your shit, because you could have a team where you have 3 guys that are 5-star rated current ability, 5-star rated potential ability. But as soon as you sign two more guys, they could drop down to a 3-star. It doesn't affect what they are. It doesn't affect how they play, but it does affect their rating. So you don't necessarily like for the lower leagues you can do it because it's kind of a combination. You use the star ratings to figure out if you want the person and if they're going to be okay, but you use their ability ratings to show you what the player is going to be. And that's one of those things that is real cool and real fun. And figuring that stuff out, you might go on and you might see people on like Reddit and that talking about how they don't like the game. There was somebody was talking on Reddit today about they didn't like the game and thought it was a ripoff because there's only certain number of you get like I don't even know you get like I can show you a player. We're gonna go over to our squad. So this is our squad, and this is our main squad. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 21 players on our main squad. But we also have an under 21 squad and a under 18 squad. So you will add those in because they will show you, you trust me, in this league you need a lot of players. And usually in the first season, you don't have any under 18 or under 21 games to do, so you don't get to use them. So we have a total of how many players do we have? Where the heck does it show that at? I know it shows it on here somewhere. I don't know where it shows that, but we have that many players on our team. Now you can look at different things on these. You can see different things on these. You can look at it, and now there's their star ratings. Now, this is the current ability. This is the potential. Now, for example, if I'm looking down through this, my best player on this team is going to either be Ian Kerrigan. Where'd he go? It's going to be Ian Kerrigan, Joseph Kambananji. I'm going to say names wrong, and if I do, I can't help it. There's some tough names to say on here. Or Jordan Tunnicliffe. Okay, those guys are those are the 3 highest rated current ability guys. Okay, so those 3 guys are going to be who I want to build this team around. One's a middle. He plays midfield left or right. The other plays midfield left or attacking midfielder left, and the other one plays midfield right or attacking midfielder right. So in the offense that I'm going to use, which is one that I kind of designed, and I use a lot of things that, like, you got so many different things about this game that are going to be explained today, and hopefully everybody will catch on. And if you come back and see this, you'll see and you'll get what I'm talking about. But with this, if you look at this, these are my top 3 guys. Now, if I want to look at Kerrigan, these are Kerrigan's these are not statistics. These are his ability scores. Okay, so it's ranged from 1 to 20. And you have the technicals, mentals, and physicals. And when it comes to a player, the biggest physical attribute is natural defense, natural fitness. The higher it is, the better they can play. And this kid is 27 years old, so that means he's in the middle. He's in his prime. So these numbers are probably not going to get a whole lot better because he's already 27. But these green ones that you see highlighted here are the ones that show what are the most important for the position that is highlighted here. And these are the positions he can play. He plays left. He plays that and accomplished in that. He's natural in the right, and he has unconvincing in the right attacking midfielder, meaning that he plays there. He's played there a game or two, but he's not good at it yet. Now down here you'll see all the different roles that they could play, and those will come in handy when you're doing your setup because that's what it does. The stuff over here on this side tells you what he likes and what he's not good at. His current ability is pretty good for the division. His individual personality is great. He has dressing room. He's good in the dressing room. He has great potential ability. He likes important matches. Strongest area of the game. He possesses a fair amount of speed, which he does. Where's his speed? His pace is 10. That's not great. He's middling. He has the strongest attribute, has a long thrower, and his versatility. He can play a couple different positions. He lacks in game of things like what's this one? Weakest area of the game. Very poor intelligence of the soccer pitch. Not too bright. Inconsistent when presented with chances. Doesn't shoot real well. Has performance subpar in training lately, which that can change because that's one of those things. Fairly inconsistent performer. He's not very. He's fairly susceptible to injuries. He is very one-footed, and he needs to have individual training. So those kind of things that you look at that, and you look at all these down here. The green ones are the important ones, and the blue ones are good ones to have for that. And as you see, as you go through this, it will change, and each thing will change where they go. So if I want to play him in a defensive winger, I'll click on this, and I think the blue ones, maybe the blue ones are the good ones. No. Yeah, the blue ones are the better ones, I guess. He has some okay stats. His rating, the rating is based on the players on your team. It will vary by the time you go to a player and you bring in another player. So now, and it's not just per position, it's per the entire team. So if I bring in another player that's younger, that has this same setup with this, it will make his go down a little. It might only go down a half a star. It might go down a whole star. You can drop it all the way down to a lower star than that. But each player is individually made that way, and you will find the different things about him. So Tunnicliffe, he is not real well either. He is 24, so he's just now getting to that point where he's where he is going to be developing. And there are a lot of ways you get development. Or your team has a training rating for their training fields and stuff like that. And in this level, it's not going to be very high. You get all those different things are all rated, and it will determine things where you go. Now, like with Tim, his natural fitness is a 12, so he's he's going to last a little longer than our last gentleman. And then you come down here to Mr. Shepard. Okay, well, that's not the one I wanted, but you can see what Mr. Shepard looks like. He's 25 years old. He's a 3 and 2.5 star current ability, but he has the potential to be a 5-star according to the coaching staff. 25 years old, 2.5 star to 5. I mean, he's got to get twice as good as he is now. And to be honest with you, I don't think that's going to happen. Now, get him to play. He might get to, play as a central defender, and you play him every game, and you play him in important games, and his training goes well. Maybe he will, but age is a factor. His biggest problem is his natural fitness is only a 9, very slow, not good. Is he good in the air? He's not good in the air either, is he? Where's his aerial? I mean, he's got great aggression. His determination is great. His flair is terrible. Yeah, the stuff that I would look for that central defender, if I'm looking at those, I wouldn't use. But here's where I vary a little bit from other people. I don't necessarily look at those stats that much when it comes to people because, especially in the lower leagues, you can actually I do a combination. I'll look at them, but I don't dwell on them. I will look at their ratings, which I'm sitting here telling you that they're not a good thing to do, and people do them anyway. So, it's kind of like, well, yeah, you should, but then again, maybe you shouldn't. And it's weird that way, but, everybody does this a little differently. The further up in the ladder you get, the further up the pyramid you climb. Once you get to, what comes with this game is you get the Champions League, you get the Premier League, you get the Championship, you get League One, League Two, the Vanarama North, which is the top amateur league, the Vanarama North and South. So there's like a small mini two-layer pyramid in the elite. I would call them elite, the elite amateurs division. Normally they are part-time by that time, so they're semi-pro teams. In that way, when you have a semi-pro team, you can actually sign them to contracts. People can't steal them from you, You don't get to sit back and go, well, I didn't have who I wanted, and I lost them because, they took them from me. It happens when you're in this kind of a league. But when you first start up, they're going to show you like your supporter profile. And honestly, when you're in the lower leagues, there's not a whole lot of supporters. They will tell you by the time the beginning of the season comes how many season tickets you have sold. If I sell more than 15 season tickets, I would be amazed, especially in a level 12. They give you a vision and expectation meeting. This is the next step you have to do when you first sign with a team. They want us to finish in the top 3 places. So they want us to be in a position this season to finish top 3. In this division, you have only one team goes up. You either win the division or you don't go up. You'll stay in that same division. And down in the lower leagues, it's kind of a pain because you're going to get 2 new teams in this division. You're going to get 3. You're going to get 2 that get promoted to this division, and you're going to get 1 that gets demoted from the league that you go up to. Now, it's not necessarily always the same one. There are different areas in the pyramid is set up where eventually you go from like these lower league individual, like the Birmingham and District Premier Division. It will go to level 11, but level 11 has like this level 12 has like 50 leagues in it. You can choose, and a lot of them have the same number of teams. There are a ton of teams you can choose from. I went through, when I was picking the team I wanted to be, I went through from the top league down and found the first team that had Sutton in the name, and it was Sutton Select. So I've been, there are 37 teams with the name Sutton. Sutton Select. There's 2 different Sutton Uniteds. There's Bishop Sutton. There's all these Sutton Common. You've got all these different teams that run from League 20 all the way up. And I've been a lot of them. But I just like the name because it's my birth name. I have relatives over in the old country in England that are named Sutton. So it's kind of a history thing for me. One of my favorite team in all of English soccer, when it comes to if I'm rooting for one team, is Sutton United. That's one of the teams I like, and I will always like them. This also tells us that they want us to maintain the top 3 finish until we're out. So for the next 5 years, my contract, which I don't have a contract, I've been hired. I don't really have a contract. I don't make any money from it. So you accept that, and then you say you're going to do this. Then you have the technical. Now this is the fun part for if you're a soccer fan and you like this sport. This is one of the fun things to do. You can choose to use one of the pre-made tactics, or you can make your own tactic up. These little white things, when you're selecting a team and you don't necessarily, if you've never played a game before, it will tell you, okay, they recommend you either use the Gegenpress, Route 1, or Park the Bus. And Park the Bus is basically you play defense. You don't do anything. You don't go out and try to score a lot of runs. You try to stall as much as you can. Not going to happen. Gegenpress is you win back possession. You're high intensity running. You're constantly putting pressure on the team. You don't go back into your normal shape. You will, wherever you end up, as soon as you lose possession, you're immediately trying to get it back. And it's very fast. And if you don't have a lot of players with good natural fitness for this, you're gonna suck, and you're gonna get beat because you will wear them out in no time. Route 1 is kind of it's a quick transitions and direct passing. So you're gonna hit direct passes. You're not gonna pass the ball around and try to move it up the field. You're gonna try to hit everybody as they go, and go up the field. And as soon as you're gonna try to get the ball back the same as the other one. When you go into these, for example, the Gegenpress, it will then give you, this will show you what, I believe you're the white team. It will kind of show you what your team will try to do with the ball and you see how they collapsed on that dude and got the ball back? That's what that's about. And they try to move the ball around. Now, when you do this, you go into choose a thing. There are a ton of these. You can choose any of these formats. These are the ones that are suggested. So this is what it would suggest we use. A 4-2-4, which is kind of what I use, but I don't use it in that I use it a little different than that. I actually use a four. I forget what it is, but I'm going to load it here in a minute. But then you can also pick any of these formations. It doesn't necessarily. Those are the top three in that type that they will let you that they want you to use, and they suggest you use this one. That's not me. So I'm going to confirm this, but I'm not going to use it. So in here, I have downloaded from the other thing. I will load. I have a few that I've gotten. This is from Omega Luke. This is from Omega Luke. This is from somebody else. I believe this is from Stinger, and this is mine. It's a 4123. It's a 4123. So basically, what I do is I have three attackers up front, two wingers, a central midfielder, and four defensive guys. Now, a lot of times you will see people like I have this set up with. This is how I set it up, and this is the original team that I set it up for. A lot of times people make mistakes and they'll download, like for example, I'm going to add a new one on here too because I usually keep 3 of them active so that I can switch between them if I'm struggling. This is Sir Alex's 442. Now if you don't know who Sir Alex is, back in the early 90s and through the mid 90s I believe, might even been the early 2000s, Sir Alex Ferguson was the coach at Manchester United, and Manchester United was dominant in the Premier League. They won everything all the time. They had Cristiano Ronaldo. They had so many different players that it was like the greatest time to be a United fan because they won all the time. And this is one of the offenses that he used. Now, this is set up in a way that they went out and they found one of his things and they set it up the best they could to duplicate what he used. Now, if you want to use this, you have what the hell is that? You have a poacher on attack as your one, and an attacking forward on attack. Then you have a winger on support, a ball-winning midfielder on defense, a central midfielder on attack, and a winger on support. So basically, what's going to happen here is your ball-winning midfielder is going to not go very far forward because he's going to be defensive-minded. He's going to try to win the ball back. Your center midfield attacker your central midfielder is going to come up and be involved in the attack. And your wingers are going to come up and fill the gaps on the outside to support the guys on the inside. They basically are going to be there to get the ball. If they get the ball to them, they're going to try to cross it into the two guys in the middle. In the back, you have a defending fullback on the left, a central defender, stoppers, I forget what that stands for. A no-nonsense center back as a stopper, and a fullback on defend. So they're going to stay back. They're not going to come forward. So you're not going to see. They're going to come up some, but they're not going to come all the way up and play if they were like wingers also, because you can have wingers in that position, and they will come all the way forward. Now, that defense is going to go up so far, and you can determine where your lines are set up. That's part of what you do. So in this. They play it very attacking, which means they're going to go all out on attack. In this portion of it where you have like your width, it's going to play a little wide. They're going to try to distribute the ball from the back. They're going to roll it out to the defenders, and they're going to bring the ball forward. They use low crosses coming in. He has no anything set there. It's slightly more direct, so they're going to try to pass the ball direct, but they will work the ball around a little bit. The tempo is going to be a little higher. They're not going to do any time wasting. You're not going to try to waste time at all. And of the ones over here, they're going to run directly at the defense. The ones that aren't highlighted pretty much tell you that lets the player decide what they want to do, which is kind of cool. So then you have your setup for what happens in transition. This is when you don't have the ball, or you've lost the ball. You're going to do you're going to counter press, you're going to counter attack, you're going to play out of the defense, and you're going to take short kicks. So the goalkeeper is going to kick the ball short, if he kicks it at all. He's going to try to distribute to the center backs. And then when you come to your defensive lines and your lines, they're going to play all higher. Now this is you're going to play up. They're going to try to stop your two forwards are going to try to stop the goalkeeper from doing what we're doing. They're gonna play and they're gonna pressure those guys. The midfielders are gonna play just in the other side of the thing, and the defense is gonna come up while the ball's in that end. As soon as they're gonna fall back from there. But this is how you set up your offenses and your other stuff for it. You can change that anytime you want to. You can alter it. You can do different combinations. For mine, I actually do attacking. I don't do very attacking because I like to use very attacking if we get real behind later in the game and then turn it up. I do the fairly wide. I like to pass into space. So we're trying to advance the ball and get it out there. I don't like the short game I want to play. I wanted to go to the wingers on the side. They're going to use low crosses. We're also going to we're going to go extremely direct. We're not going to try that. We're going to try to pass directly instead of playing around. We're also going to be more expressive, which means that we kind of give our goal scorers and our attackers freedom to do what they want to do. That's on that section. On the defense, on the transition section, we do exactly the same thing, except we do long kicks from the goal. We do everything else as high powered as we can there, and I kind of like to play the normal block. It's a little bit back. I don't want him to go up and stop, so I want everybody to fall back so that the midfield is completely covered, and it's harder to get the ball forward from the back. They may be able to drop it in over the top, but my defense is back to cover that. That's what I usually do. Now, one of my favorite ones I got is there's a gentleman named Stinger, and he does a lot of stuff. He does a lot of fun stuff. And he had this one. It was on, I don't remember which video it was on, but he does these videos, and it's a 5 in the back defense. It's a 5-1-2-2. Or a 5-1-4 or a 5-3-2 or whatever you want to call it, but it's a different look to it. And it is very effective. I use it as these are the ones I use for my other game, and they're all kind of effective. I try to start out with mine because I like the way mine plays, and if my team is good enough to do it, they will go out. Now this is something that I do different, and I've seen people complain about people doing it, but I do it this way because it's fun and I like it. Yeah, what's going on? I'm sorry, I didn't see you even come in there. Is it Crockers? What's up, man? How you doing? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, I'm the France Club's dad. Unfortunately, he uses the France Club, so I couldn't take that one from him. But I like this offense because, and what I do is instead, like I have set roles. The little, like it'll say the wingers. But I don't necessarily use those positions. What I do is I get my best team. I put my best team out there, and then there's this little, like the best way to do it to find it without going through and doing it individually. You can do quick pick, but you can come down here into this, and it tells you to pick without restriction. Pick your best 11. And that's going to put your best 11 players on there. Sometimes it won't pick a goalkeeper, even though you do have a good goalkeeper. Now, you just see that on this, you have these players set up in this position. I'm all right. Very noble one. I don't know who you're talking about. My son has been helpful with this sometimes, but he just does things. He just plays games that I have no desire to even watch or play. But you'll see these guys that have the white stars. Now, what those white stars mean is that they are players who, in this case, it's of Hullet. Let's see, he is 16 years old. I mean, he's come up from, when I activated the under 18s and added him to the list, he's on under 18. He is in a regular game, he would be a 1.5 star in his position, playing in a pressing forward position. But he is a 3 star, like it's the same going up in those as it is in the yellow stars, but these are your guys who can improve and become stronger as time goes on. Oh, cool. Who's winning? Oh, I can't do that. Nope, you ain't bothering me none. I just sometimes it's hard to see what's going on over here and over there at the same time. And I've got like phones everywhere with lists and my thing. And I'm getting used to this because this is the first time I've used this setup. I was used to do it on PlayStation 4. I played Elder Scrolls Online, and everything's right in front of you, so you don't have to look away. But now I've got like screens everywhere, and I got my main game here on the main screen in front of the camera, and I've got my OBS on this screen, and I've got phones showing what's going on I'm everywhere. So as I get used to doing this, it'll be a lot easier. Oh, City down to 10. What division is that? Is that Champions? I don't keep up with it in real life like I used to. I actually keep up with it on here more than anything because I'm playing Football Manager all the time. I love this game. But when I was saying about with the White Stars, these guys can get better. The more you play them, the more they'll get better. Now, is he the best player in that position? Someone would say that you would probably start Craig Foster in that position over those two guys, but I disagree because he is a 1.5 star. But these guys are a 3-star potential. That means that they could be a better player than them. So for me, I'm going to start the guys that have more star filled in. That's just the way I do it. And in the end, it always works out great. But what I also do, instead of leaving those, now that was what the setup would look like star-wise if I leave them in the original roles that I used when I first set this up. But there's this little button right here that says pick roles and duties. I like to do this because it does it quick. You will see I don't need you to show me that. What the hell, Colin Winkleman? But now as you see, it changed everything. Everything went. Now the guy was a 3-star, white 3-star goalkeeper is now a 1-star goalkeeper. If you go into and you click on this little white arrow here, it'll bring up all your goalkeepers. Now, he's not the best goalkeeper in that position now. It's actually Mr. Bjorkson. So, really, yeah, I started playing Football Manager when it was called Championship Manager. To not to age myself, but I just turned 57 last month, so I started playing this game when it first came out as Championship Manager. And actually, my daughter played with me when she was like 8 or 9 years old. I'm thinking it was around the mid 90s. Well, she would have been 90. It would have been 98. She was 10. She actually played with me. We didn't play in the English league. We played in the Scottish league, and she was Livingston, and I was Partick Thistle. And we played back then, and I was still trying to figure out the dude's name that was my goal scorer because he was a beast. But by using the different roles, you can set up the best team for your team you have on the field. Now, like I said, he's going to be my goalkeeper. These guys are going to change because because we're in July 3rd. The regular season doesn't start until, let me go to my schedule here. The regular season doesn't start until we got a month. Actually, we got 2 months. So we don't start till September 2nd. So to get ready for the off season or the regular season, you have to have set up some friendlies. Now, I don't let the computer set up my friendlies. They will this time. The only time I will let them set up my friendlies is in the very first part of the season because 24 is pretty badass. I mean, Football Manager 18, I didn't have a computer until I got on my disability, which was in 2019, and I think the first Football Manager I bought was 21. And Football Manager 21 23. For some reason, I didn't end up getting Football Manager until 23. And I liked 23. It was pretty cool, and they had everything flushed out on it. But 24 is better because there's so much more you can do. We are starting we're starting July 3rd, 2023. This is Football Manager 24. We're starting on 23. I didn't update it to the newest stuff because I like starting from the beginning. I don't necessarily need to do all the other jumping around like some people will do that, and I'm just like, what? And we are in the 12th division with a team called Sutton Common. They are playing they are right now at the beginning of the season ranked 9th in the Birmingham District League Premier Division. I love lower league management because one, it's fun because you can get different players and watch different players that are you would never consider to have in the upper leagues because these guys are not good. But when you play them down here, you can see some like I'm on my off computer. I've been playing a team called Bishop Thorpe White Rose. I have two players. I can't remember their names right now. One's Callum and Langfield are my strikers. We've played 9 league games and about 10 FA Cup, FA Vase, and they're in the northern. They're in level 9 now. They started in 12. They're in level 9. We've played in like 5 different. We played the regular season and 3 other cups. In about 15 games, they have 18 goals. They are freaking awesome. Never hear from them. Would never even qualify. They would be like a 1.5. They'd be like a half-star team to a Birmingham or a, those teams. And I've got like the one team I really want to do is Sheffield, because whenever I've suggested to other creators to do Sheffield, they all say, well, we did Sheffield United. That's not the Sheffield I'm talking about. I'm talking about the original oldest world team, the oldest football club in the world is Sheffield FC. They're in Division 10. I have played them offline as a team trying to go, and I never make it past a season and a half before I get fired. I've won them to promotion to level 9, and then for whatever reason, every player on the team turns on me, and I never have a problem with players. Usually, well, that's one of the things about being in the lower leagues. If you have a problem with a player that doesn't like you, doesn't have a contract, you just tell him to go away. Especially if he's not that good, because you'll see that in this game. A lot of time, your issue is you have players who don't know what they're rated. So a half-star player will think they're a superstar, and they will want playing time, and they will come to you and they'll get pissy and they'll be like, I want to play. You're not good enough. Okay, I don't want to leave. You just have to say, after like 3 times, I'm like, you're gone. Unless you're like my best player on the team, you're leaving, because I'm not going to deal with a player coming to me every other week going, can I help you?
No.
Oh. I'm talking to someone that knows you.
Both of them. Those are 2 of my British boys.
Well, yeah, Vincent, you're Bettini. You're right. They are better, but the point is, for me, Sheffield FC they've been around since 1856. They have never been, from being one of the original teams that started the football, they've never been higher than where they're at now. They've never won anything. So the object is to try to take them and make them a power. A lot of times, if you watch these guys on like YouTube, like Tom FM or Dr. Benji or Work the Space or Zealand or Omega Luke, they will go out and they hardly ever, like, Work the Space and those guys and Tom FM sometimes will play the lower leagues, and they'll add things in, and they'll get like I have a database that's like huge. I don't just play with the regular data. I go out and download the mods that add every club for every world. We're playing in Pakistan. We have the ability to play in Pakistan, Reunion, Brazil, England, a downloaded U.S. database, and there's another one, Tuvalu. So those are the 6 countries that I added to start this league with. And if something happens that I get fired from this job, then I will go and I will take and I will move into a different place. I will go out and find a club. I started out as, you have different settings you can set up for how you start out as a manager. When you're setting it up, and one day I'll show the setup of that, but it just takes forever to do because it's such a pain in the butt. Because the computer, I don't have a newer computer, so my computer is extremely slow. The one I'm playing on now is a lot faster than the one I use offline. But it's still not as fast as it could be. I think I could do, if I was to do this where I just didn't take a team and simulated the first season, it took me 6 hours to do the whole thing with this many leagues. If I do it with just one league in the 12th division, it took me 45 minutes to run through one season. So those guys will do rebuilds. One of my favorite to watch is Omega Luke and his dad because they do battles against each other. It's fun to watch because those guys go out and they do all this stuff against, they do these things against each other, and it's funny because they have a wide knowledge because they're from England. I don't have as much knowledge of some of the things, but I've been watching football since I was a kid. I'm from Ohio, so we didn't have football like they did in England. But I started watching when the original Ronaldo played for Inter back in the day before he was a party guy, and the dude was amazing. Some of the things he did was just unbelievable. I could not believe I was watching that this was an actual human being playing soccer. Now I grew up, I got to see some of the stuff that Pele did when he was older, but I didn't get to watch him live because he'd retired before I started watching it. But back in the day when our cable started to come in and we started getting cable channels, on the weekend you would have a Premier League team or an Italian, the Serie A, or one of those, a La Liga, or someone would be on our TV and we get to watch it. And that's how I got exposed to it. And I grew up watching those guys. Oh, I love everything to do with it. I love everything to do with soccer. I think it's the greatest sport there is. The only thing that I will watch any level of soccer. I don't care what level it is. I will go watch a kid's 5 years old, under five team play, because for me, it's my dad can't. He can't understand why anybody likes soccer. He doesn't get what it's about. And I keep trying. He said they don't score no goals. I'm like, I know they don't score no goals. That's the point. It's like chess on a field. To me, that's how I've always explained it. That's awesome. Whereabouts? I got my family's all from over there. My last name is Justin uses it as his France Club is our last name, but I was born a Sutton, and Sutton the Sutton Castle that's in Ireland, that's like a hotel more than a castle now, is somehow involved. Our family somehow goes back to that. Cool. Yes, he is doing extremely well with Wrexham. As a matter of fact, I'm really surprised that he's doing so well. But I enjoy, like I said, I used to watch. I'm a big man. My two favorite teams in football are. I watch Sutton United is my favorite team. I've always liked Sutton United, and I've been a Man U fan because I used to watch Man U back in the day when they had Alex Cole and the Neville brother or the Nevilles and all those guys. I watched it back when when Fergie was the man and was probably the greatest manager of all time. And as a matter of fact, one of the downloaded tactics that I got was someone who recreated his 4-4-2, and it's one of the three. I set my team up with three. I made one up after watching so many of these guys do those things. I made up it's a 4-1-2-3, but it basically plays as a 3-man up front, 2 wingers, and a central midfielder and 4 in the back. And then there's a guy named Stinger who does a lot of videos that do a lot of tactics, and he's got a tactic that's got a 5 in the back that is amazing, and I've used it on my offline thing, and it's pretty freaking cool. But I guess some people don't like these kind of games because they are very time consuming, and if you get into this game and you don't, and you like I always say to everybody plays this game differently. It's an open world. It's basically an open sandbox world game that you can play any way you want to. If you save scum, hey, it's your game. That's you're not competing against anybody. There are people that play multiple games against other people. You can do online saves. They have, Omega Luke and his dad do against each other, but they've also did a 4-way rebuild and a 3-way rebuild with Tom FM and Stinger, and I can't remember the other 2 guys. Robbo was one, and I can't remember the other guy, and that makes me mad because I watched that and it was great. But this game is your own game. You play it how you want to play it. So if you want to save scum because you got beat, you got FM'd in a game that you got beat by the worst team in the league in the FA Cup final, and you're Man U and you got beat by a team that shouldn't ever even have been there, and you want to save scum, save scum. It's your game. Do what you got to do. I set my team up different than other people set my team up. I know a lot of people, when I watch them, will go in and they do their tactics and they will sit here, and I will, like I said, I rely a lot on I hired these suckers for a reason. They're going to work, and I'm going to use them. And no, they're not the greatest coaches on this game, are not the greatest people in the world. They're not the most intelligent, and they don't always come up with the best thing. But you can go in and you can make the changes. You don't have to use that. But I will quick pick. I will ask them to set up my best 11. And as you see, I'm going in and I'm making changes to the team the way I want to make it, because they don't have the same philosophy as I do. But in the end, if it comes down to sitting there and taking a half an hour to say, oh man, I don't keep track of who I'm playing the most and who I'm not playing the most, especially in the lower leagues, because there's 12 teams in this division. We'll play 22 games from September to April. We'll play 22 games. That means we'll play probably one game a week in August, one game a week in September. We'll play 3 games in October, 2 games in December, and then the rest of the games will be filled in from January, February, March, and April. And until you get to, like, on my Bishop Thorpe game, I'm in level 9. We're in, I don't remember what team it is now. I forget which one we're in. We're in the Northern Central League 1, or Northern Counties League 1 East, I think is the one we're in. It's the NCEL tournament is the one that's the local league tournament. I won it last year. I won the FA Vase last year. I'm now into the 3rd round of the Vase. We're about to start the NCEL, and we're still around in the FA Cup. I just beat Wellington Town. They're whichever Wellington's in the Vanarama North. I beat them, and Sheffield. Sheffield is one of those teams that they people call them yo-yo teams. You'll see them one year they'll be in the championship, the next year they'll be in the Premier League, and then they'll be in there and they'll do whatever they got to do, and they'll end up getting relegated later in the season, and they'll go back to the championship, and then there'll be a dominant team there. And it's like, I've been a Sutton United fan probably since I started watching and playing this game. So it's been since in the 90s. I don't know the players that play there because I didn't keep that strict an eye on it. Like, I'm a diehard Steeler fan. I've been a Pittsburgh Steeler fan since 1970. I started liking them when I was 3 years old, and I've liked them ever since, and I've rooted for them through thick and thin. And the only thing that I will watch over soccer is the Steelers. I've always watched the Steelers. I don't care, or listening to them on the radio or whatever. So, when it comes to this game, I get into this game because it's a new world. I started it on July 3rd, 2023. I haven't even got through my first day of doing things, and I'm already getting to what I already know what I need for the team. I need to know what I need to build into the team, and I'm ready to go because I've been doing this for so many years and doing it so many different ways that you know what? There's actually a website that has tons of those games, like LMA Manager 2004. Some of the older, they have the Champions League games that were made back in the day that you can download and play that are pretty much freeware anymore. And they have thousands and thousands and thousands of old games. So, going back and playing those games, I need to see if they've got a version of that I played back then. Because there was when I played with my daughter back in the mid to late 90s, she was Livingston, I was Partick Thistle, and they had a goalkeeper and a forward, but I cannot remember either one of them names. And I've been looking, and they're not ringing a bell. I mean, I've got issues with my memory anyway, but I want to find that game so I can go back and find out who those guys were, because you can. There's people who do databases. Like there's a guy named, he's called the Mad Scientist. He creates retro databases that go back as far. I'm not sure it's him that did it, but there's one that goes all the way back to the 50s. They include a file that gives you 3 years of real players that come in. The Mad Scientist has them from like the 90-94. They don't do all the leagues, but they do like the main leagues. That he does a file that you download that lets you bring in. It lets you bring in the players in the time that they would have come in. So you get Lamille. Yeah, I'm saying these names great. You get Kylian Mbappe come in. You get, any of those guys come in. You get Ronaldo. You get Messi that come in, and the time that they come in as Wonder Kids. And it's great to see, because you can go back and you go, I can actually add a file. Now, in this game, there is a chance if you get enough of the youth intakes, that you may get a child of your own in this game. There is people that have gotten their kids to come in to the game. There is a file on the Sports Interactive Editors Hub that lets you edit in and put your child in for you if you want to. You can put in anybody. You can go back and you could take Pele and you could say, okay, I'm gonna put Pele in. He's gonna start at that team, and give a range of what you want them to come into, and go from there. You can add a player, and you can determine they will be completely random, and it's awesome because it allows you so much different stuff. I have on my YouTube channel, which I haven't done for a while, and I used to be a Madden player. I used to play Madden a lot, and when Madden came out with the editable draft lists, and I would go back in, like I started it in Madden 19, and it's on my YouTube channel, which is also Elf Sutton in YouTube, and I would input the teams from 2000 and then do the draft lists each year and redo football. And it was a great idea, but Madden, and I don't care if EA hears this, I don't care if EA's got a problem with that, Electronic Arts is the biggest piece of crap video game company in the world. They suck. They do nothing but worry about taking money from children, and I will never, ever, ever. One of the games I used to play a lot was Dragon Age. I'll never play it again because it's an EA game. I hate EA. I hate them to death. But yeah, it's one of those things. But so, I did that for a while, and then I was doing it. I think I got to like 2008, and I didn't play the games. I didn't manage this. I managed the Steelers, but I didn't play the Steelers. I would do coaches mode and watch the games, and I would let the computer do everything. And we got into a game where we were down by 7 with like 3 minutes to go in the game, and we were on a 4th and like 15. There was a 5-yard holding or 5-yard penalty, and we went for it. And they called a holding call on the 4th and 15, which normally the computer would turn the ball down and they get the ball where my play was dead. Didn't do that. It called the play dead and gave them the ball on my half-yard line. I was like, what the hell is this? That was the last time I played Madden. I don't even care. It was the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I will never do it. I want to play Maximum because I did some early work with them with Maximum, getting that football game and doing some play testing. But the computers I have now, my laptop is gone and it won't work anymore. I don't know what happened to it. I got to get it fixed. But my computers I have now don't have the right video cards to play that. And so I am waiting for the day I'll be able to do that because it's a badass game. Yeah, there are so many. The amount of people who are out there that are good is just amazing. It's one of those things that is awesome because And that's one of the things I like about watching like the other content creators. Like one of my favorite guys to watch all the time is Omega Luke. I watch everything he puts out. One of the other guys I like to watch from time to time, basically because he's not streaming, he's not streaming this right now as much, is Zealand. Zealand puts out a lot of how-to game videos. He did a lot of stuff like that. He does online streams for every game, but he's already done like 2 this year, and without the new game coming out because of the issues they had, I think right now he's streaming FC24, which again is an EA game which I would never play for. I don't care how much they could offer me $1,000,000 to play it, and I never would. But it's fun to watch because you get to learn about players that you might never hear about. And that's one of the things about this with the way this game is. They have thousands upon thousands of thousands of people who go out and actually scout these players. And they put them into this game as realistically as they can. And it's fun because you see guys like Pio Esposito, who is a young, there's 3 brothers. I don't remember the other two's names, but he is a young striker that if you get him can become one of the best strikers to ever play the game and just scores tons of goals for you. And it's awesome because you can do so many different things with this game that you can play this. I can start this team today, play it for a year, save that, go back and start this game again and play with the same setup and everything, but get totally different players and have a totally different outcome. And it will always be different. And there are certain players, like, for example, when you have guys like that, Aronson, he may have a set, his statistic, or his not his statistics, his makeup will be different every time the game starts for him, because in a lot of cases they don't put in their numbers to be a hard number. They'll put them in as a range. For example, a guy like Lamine Yamal. Yeah, I'm saying his name wrong, but he has a range of like up to -10 that will allow him to be a range in his potential from 180 to 200. When you put in an original Messi, he has the same range. There may be guys like Antonio Silva, who, if you've ever watched Omega Luke, he has the potential to become one of the most devastating goal scorers of all time. And his range will be different. And you can go and watch these guys. They all do these Wonder Kid things where they'll go out and they'll find the Wonder Kids and they'll say, they'll rank them by what they are and what they're not. And there are some amazing players out there. And the nice thing is, I try to keep up with it. Like I said, I get a lot of mine from. I watch these guys. Like Zealand has like 2 channels. He does the Zealandisms. He does his regular gameplay. He does all these other things. But he has on his Zealandisms, he talks about the stuff that's going on. So I keep up on a lot of the news. But between watching the stuff on there and now between that and streaming and then playing the game offline and doing what I do there, I won't have time to keep up on crap because I'll be busy all the time. And I will be streaming from now on. I'm going to be back to streaming every day. I don't play around. I'll stream for 2, 3, 4 hours, depending on, because my health is an issue. I have a heart problem. I have a neck issue. That was what kept me from playing ESO all the time, because I had nerve damage into my thumb and I couldn't use the controller right without being in excruciating pain. Now I don't have that pain because all I'm doing is once in a while moving the mouse around and sitting back and watching the game. So there's other things that will be coming from this. I'm also going to be doing something like, if you look at the screen, I do charity. I do collect charities. I try to do a charity each month. I haven't had the American Heart Association one on there forever because that was when I stopped streaming about 1.5 years ago. So it wasn't from wanting to, it just happened. Sorry about that. Wow, that was terrible. So those may be changing. I usually do the Heart Association. I usually do childhood cancer. I'll do other things like that. I'm also going to do some other stuff because in order to, and we've, that $25 was from like a year and a half ago. And the nice thing about the way it's done with Twitch now, if you set up a thing through their for their charities, as soon as that money is spent, like if you were to do a charity right now and you were to pay $25 into that charity, I don't have to do nothing. It'll automatically go, and through their system, they automatically pay it to the American Heart Association. It shows up on here as being done, but it's automatically sent in. I don't have to do anything, which is awesome because you don't have to worry about, did I get that paid? Did I do this or that? Also, I'm going to go back into streaming. I don't do this to make a lot of money. I don't really care about the money. I don't ask for things. If you want to subscribe, you want to be a subscriber, that's fine. You want to follow, I hope you follow and come back. I don't care about that kind of stuff. But what I do is I'm work on things like, I don't even have anything set up for like bits or anything yet, but that's going to be something I'm going to do based on this game, because there's going to be some stuff that we're going to do to allow people to get themselves in the game. It'll be a bit based thing that if you want a player to be named after you, then that comes in one of the youth teams. You can pick a team you want to be on. We'll put you in, your name in. We'll set you up for some randomness to it so that you could become a great player or just a mediocre player, but you'll be there. That kind of stuff's going to happen. But I am going to work on trying to improve my setup. I have 2 computers right now. They're both 2009 computers. One runs better than the other. The one I'm playing the game on right now is the one that runs better. It actually will run the game at a good speed. That when I do the video, when I actually watch the games, it actually lets you look at them like normal instead of being really screwed up. Because the other one that I'm using my offline, I only have it set up on 45 FPS because it won't run right and look good enough at anything else. The one I'm playing the game on now is set at 60, so it should be pretty good. We're gonna do, if we do in a day should get a donations, we're going to do a little bit of a way to pay back people who are here. If someone should come in one day and donate $100, we're going to have a giveaway. We're going to have a 50-50 drawing on that day. It will cost 100 bits to get a ticket, but at the end of the stream, whoever gets the winner, we're going to put everybody's name in a hat. Whoever gets the win, they will get 50% of the donations for that day. I don't worry about, because I am going to use anything that I make from this through, because like I tell everybody before, I get my money through, you'll get ads. I can't help it. The ads are there because that's how I make my money. I would rather make my money from Twitch paying me for the ads than to worry about going in and having Leeds. Ooh, Leeds could be a tough team to be a supporter of, but AC Milan's a pretty good team sometimes. I mean, and that's the thing that's so cool about soccer or football. You never know what's going to happen year to year. I mean, it could be Leeds could come out this year and have one of the best teams in the league, and it just doesn't work out good for them because everybody else had great teams too. Or they could come out and be an awesome team and nobody else is any good. And it's like anything else, but it's cool. But like I said, if we have donations and when I start getting into my more longer streams and get back into a routine and that kind of stuff, that's something that's going to happen. It's to improve what I can do and improve what can be done. And I don't see a problem with helping other people out. That's why I do the donation. Actually, you guys never been here before, and you probably don't know that. I never told you guys this, but the reason I got into streaming in the first place is because I'm just disabled. I have a heart condition. My heart, I have a defibrillator in right here. There's a little box in my chest that keeps me alive. And I was applying for disability, and in America, to get disability, it can take you up to 2 years to get it. And I had a 13-year-old cousin who passed, 13. He passed away. He had what was called osteocarcinoma. He had cancer in his bones, basically, and in his lungs. And he was diagnosed when he was 8, and from the time he was 8 until he passed away when he was 13, he went through 30 some operations. They took off a part of the bone in one leg and off the other bone in the other leg, and he had numerous different things to try to help him. And my mother has multiple sclerosis, and I have a heart problem. So I try to raise money to get people the help that these things can do, because they are important. They are things that help people. You know, this that's in my chest, if I didn't have this in my, if it wasn't for the American Heart Association, they wouldn't know the stuff they do. You know, childhood cancer is a devastating thing. I didn't know, he was my second cousin. I didn't know him really well, and the only time I ever really got to spend any time with him was when my aunt, his grandmother, passed away about 3 months before he did. And it was one of those things where it was like, man, I got to do something. So I started doing this. Like I said, once I get things back on track, because this has been a week or two in the making, and it seemed like every time I'd get something that I needed to do to set this up, it was the wrong thing or it didn't work. And I finally got the last piece of the puzzle today, and we got this set up, and now we're going to be able to do this. So, you know, there's going to be fun stuff we're going to talk about. You know, I don't have a problem with people coming in here. If people want to come in and talk about whatever they want to talk about, if I miss your message, I'll go back and get to it as best I can, because I have one screen that's the game, I have one screen that's the OBS, and all the different screens around me trying to make sure I can see these things. But when you're talking about the game or you're looking at the game, you don't always get a chance to see what's going on in the chat. So if I miss your message or something, I apologize. If you do something like anything, if it doesn't come up, because I have like the different things for like the on my screen for Twitch, but they don't always show. So if you spend channel points, tell me. Let me know that you did something. I'm going to be changing all those, because there's a few of those I'm not going to do anymore, and I want to change a couple around and make them better and add some fun stuff in. And I do what's on the channel points. If you know, if you tell me to drink, I'll drink. If you tell me to do that, I try to do that. But I'm going to change the ones. They're there, but I'm not doing any of them right now because we're getting back into things and we got to get things going again. Now, the screen that you're looking at on the game is one of the new things they added in FM24 that makes the game better. It is the set piece setup. Before, you used to pick the players. They had a list of things that you could choose from, different scenarios, and you would just pick the players you wanted to go in there. And it wasn't like this. You actually can get a coach now. You have a set piece coach that once you choose these things, like the different, how they're doing these, who defends, marking strategy, what defensive marking strategy do you prefer? They want you to do. All right, I have two mice and I'm looking at the wrong one. They want you to use the player marking, which is a good one. For this one, they want you to do near post. And usually I'll pick the ones that are said there for those, because that way you've set it up the way your goalkeeper, your set piece coach is going to be. Now you can go in here, you can change all this stuff if you want to, but you come up here to this little shared button and you go in there and it says delegate. You delegate that and you never have to touch those again. Now you can download those. There are a ton of those out there. People have developed those and made great ones, and they've got all these different things. But one thing that people miss and people don't get, and like I was explaining earlier about the set pieces, I downloaded Sir Alex Ferguson's recreated 4-4-2 tactic. It is set up for a Manchester United Premier League awesome team of the past century that was one of the greatest teams of the 90s. It is not set up for Sutton Common. Sutton, yeah, mine is Sutton Common. Did I say that name right, or I calling myself the wrong name? I don't even remember the name of my damn team. I lost my brain. Select, I'm sorry, it's Sutton Select, not Common. Sutton Common is another one of those teams. Sutton Select is not designed to play Alex Ferguson's 4-4-2 tactic. So I changed my tactics around and make them work for me. I will use, normally, like, one of the things when you watch, if you ever go on YouTube and watch a Mega Luke and his dad, they do rebuilds. They'll rebuild two teams in the same, like they'll do Arsenal and Tottenham. They'll do Man City and Manchester United, or they'll do from all over the world. They go to a lot of the in-game, whatever game teams are on the game. They don't usually download things to do that kind of expansion for databases. and he's always getting on his dad because his dad will win a league. He'll win the triple, and change his tactic the next day. I change my tactics in the middle of the damn season because I set 3 tactics up to be trained on. I will train on the one that I like the most. If I start losing, and I lose a couple of games in a row, I'm changing my tactic because it's either not working or they're not getting it, and I'll change to one of the other tactics. So it usually works out well for me. If I tie too many games in a row, and teams that I think I should be destroying or beating, I will change the tactics. So you just see tactics getting changed around a lot. And in this, the first up and through the first part of the year, until you get into August, a lot of the stuff, and you're gonna see me go through these and fly through these because I've played this game so much. I know what they say already. I don't need to sit there and read them and go, okay, I get it. I already know pretty much what the gist of it's gonna say, and it's one of those things. I don't really, it's one of those. I'm just not gonna worry about it that much now. I thought I had to do that. So like then you have your monthly staff meetings. You set these up. Every month you have a meeting. You attend them. Most of the time the information they give you is mostly informational, but there's some things that they'll tell you to do. A lot of times you'll see people when they hire somebody, you'll see these guys that have been doing this as creators for a long time. They'll talk about like, I'll make him the captain. I'll make him my vice captain. This first one especially is you do a lot of that, and then you'll get a lot of information about players and like if they're fitting in and what's going on and all that stuff. And unless it gives you a choice to make, it really is something that gives you an idea of what's going on. But I know what most of them are going to tell me, so I'm not going to read a lot of those. If I see one that's weird, I will read it. Then you have your staff you have to hire, and they'll give you some ideas of staff to hire. And down in the lower leagues, you're not going to get great staff. So this is probably, let's see, the head performance analyst. He has an analyst rating of 3 out of 20. I'm probably going to go with Sam over Ralph because Sam's determination is a 5. It's better. They both have the same tactical knowledge, so it really doesn't matter. So I will give him a contract at the end of the day. We'll probably do Chief Scout, which is, oh man, that's not good. But we'll do it because we need a Chief Scout. And we'll probably need a scout too. Physio, the better the physio rating, the better the thing. And since Ruff Soper and Jake Humphreys has the same one, I will probably do Ruff because I like the name. And you're gonna see like there is a name that I have seen in almost every one of these. Their first name is Shaquille O'Neal, and then some surname. I've seen it a million times, and I'm sitting there going, are you kidding me? I've seen some really weird names. You'll see, like, and a lot of times, especially in the lower leagues, you'll see some even weirder names because some of these guys, and a lot of these guys in the lower leagues are made up. They have some real players, but 90% of the time, I would say, they're probably not real players because and again here when you're doing you can see when you're doing the approach to sign, there's nothing to negotiate because it's an amateur contract. So he either's going to come coach for us or he's not. You don't have to negotiate a price. Once you become a semi-professional team, then you start doing that because you're going to have, they're going to give you what they want. You're going to have so much you can spend. And it always ends up being less than what you really want. There's a lot of strategy to this game, and it doesn't really apply in the lower leagues because, again, I can hire as many players as I want to. I can have 500 players on my team if I got 500 players that want to come. They ain't all get to play. Only playing 22 games is not going to give you a lot of players to get a time to play. So, and when you hire somebody, a player, they'll have different roles you can select. Like you'll have a star player all the way down to a player that's like a fringe player. In a team like Leeds or Manchester or Bromley or Dagon Red, the teams in the upper towards the high amateur Vanarama League or the second or first league or the championship or the Premier League or other countries, those roles will become important that you don't have too many other because they want playing time. In the lower leagues, I have found when I play, I don't care. If they want to be a star player, they can be a star player. They're going to get playing time. If they don't get enough playing time, I can say, look, there's one of them that they've got so many different things you can do. And you can say, okay, well, I can't get you in because and they're not always necessarily great things to tell them in the press conference, which sucks because Mr. Gray, I have a massive Mr. Gray. He's one of my 7 cats, and Miss Peaches is over there, and they will make appearances because they like to be on my lap in this chair, don't you? So and when you have that, it doesn't start to become a problem until you actually pay these players, because you can, if you got somebody that's just not good enough to play, but they think they're better than they are, you will run into that problem where they will come to you every couple of weeks and says, I was discussing somebody, one of your assistant manager or somebody will come say, it'll say they've been talking to these people and they have an issue they'd like to talk to you about. And when you tell them the same thing 3 times in a row and they just don't get it, I let them go. Unless they are like a superstar with 5 and 5 on the stars, I don't mess with it because it's just a distraction for you. Now that right there will tell you the players who are homegrown. And if you're familiar with English football, homegrown really doesn't make a difference in the English league until you go to do like the Champions League and that kind of stuff, because it's great to have them, and there's different lengths of time. Like for example, a player that would, if I go to Brazil and I bring in a Brazilian player, after they are trained at I'm not sure what it is in. I'm not sure. I think it's 5 years in England. I'm not sure about this. I would have to look it up. It will give you, after a certain amount of time, they will be considered a player that needs a work permit. After they get to the point where they're homegrown, they don't need a work permit no more, and it's easier to get them. And work permits can be a major pain in the ass. Now, I could go and watch this. You know what? I think I'm going to do that for the heck of it this time. Just to start, just for a little bit to see what it looks like. So I want to make sure it comes across good and what it looks like on there. So it's one of those things where all those little tiny rules are in there's a rule section that will tell you. Like, okay, for example, I'm getting ready to do this real quick. And this makes no sense to have because they're not getting paid. So I can't charge them a fee. What's the point in having it if I can't charge them a fee? I mean, it makes no sense. So the one thing I like to check before I start doing any they'll give you, like, this is the main league page of your division that I'm in, the Birmingham and District League Premier Division. Shows all the teams, shows the statistics once you get going. It shows like where you qualify. This is the 302nd ranked league. Well, level 12 is. It's not individual, but level 12 is the 302nd ranked league all over the one in the world. My first game will be against Sill Hill, and we will play them on the 2nd of September, which is a long way away. But what I like to look at before we get started is a season preview. Right now, we are previewed to finish second. Our odds are 60-1. Alva Church reserves, they're reserve teams. I don't know if they can be promoted or not. And I won't find out until it doesn't. I have never been able to find it except later on in the thing when the league actually starts. It'll have a little red thing down at the bottom. They're predicted 1 to 91 odds. Now, with my Bishop Thorpe team, after I signed like 15 players that were all high-level players, when they'll show this every once in a while. Sometimes they miss it, sometimes they don't. They'll actually show a season preview in your inbox. I had 1 to 657 odds. I have never seen odds that high to win the league. I was like, what the hell is that? I've never seen odds like that, ever. This is like normally what you see is 1 to 91. Now, right now we're 60-1 and we're supposed to finish second. By the time I'm done signing people right before this is over, those odds are going to change a little bit, and hopefully we will have enough of a team that we will be ranked number 1. So but this game, like I said, getting into this game and getting started can be a lot involved in it. And I'll go fast because I've done this forever. And it's one of those things that you don't sit there and think about it. You chat with the chat. You talk about what's going on in the game. You'll ignore whole portions of this because it's just something that you, as a manager or someone who's played FM, you've done this so many times that you really don't need to look at it and go, okay, well, I know what that says. Now, this is one of those areas that's kind of weird because they want us to finish in the top three. We're going to introduce ourselves to the now as the main team here. We have 2, 4, 6, 8. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 16, 20 players. I do not need to have any of my under 21s or under 18s on this team because I have 18 players. But in the first season, under 18 and under 21 will not have any competitions.
Don't forget collisions tonight.
Huh?
So don't forget collisions tonight.
I know. I'll get to it. They don't have matches, and you can tell their coaches to do friendlies. They don't do them. Usually in the second season, you will get an under 18 team to play, and they will play in an under 18 league. And normally you'll get slaughtered because it's not against just teams in your division or in level 12. It's teams from all over. So you'll get slaughtered for a while. But the fun part is you don't manage those, and you don't have to really hire a coach if you don't have games. Like right now, I don't need an under 21s or an under 18 coach because we're not doing anything. Next year, I would need an under 18. And it becomes a factor later on if you have and you can't get rid of the league. I would have to go into the pregame editor, know which team I'm going to take, and then eliminate their under 21 squad in the pregame editor, then save it, come back and start playing to get rid of the under 21 league. The only thing you can do is just don't hire a coach. Don't put the players there, don't hire a coach. So, I will use my under 18s and my under 21s to be in my regular squad until next year. And then in December, we'll get the note saying that we're going to get, this is what our youth intake is going to look like. Generally, your first one is generally decent. You don't get any major players. You'll get like a couple, 1 or 2 gray star players, maybe a 3 gray star player. You'll never get a player that has better than 1 star gold. I've never gotten that. There are in the lower leagues because you just don't have the facilities. That's just not going to happen. So what I'll say to them is I'd like to introduce myself as your new head coach and answer any questions that may have been particular. If you're not familiar with me, we have no idea who you are. And then they'll ask you a question. They ask a question. And you can do any of these 4. And I usually say I want to talk about what we're going to do for their aims this year. And they want us to, they think we should go up as champions. Our aim is the top 3 finishes, what they want. So we're going to talk. Huh? We're going to do a top 3 finish, and you see their reaction. Most of them are pleased or satisfied, and I have nothing else to talk about because I'm not making any. I'll say, brilliant, that's great, and I have nothing else to talk about, and that was your team meeting. That's usually the best team meeting to have is the very first one because it usually goes pretty well. This will tell you how your leadership is. These are your most influential. You'll only ever have 3 at a time up here. This can be, I've seen the whole team there. They can never have more than 3 here. Normally, it doesn't matter unless they're in this one, if they're upset or not, because the other one, I mean, they can be upset and they might get 1 or 2 players involved, but normally people down here don't affect these people, and they may affect some of these down here, but it's enough that it's not going to make a major problem. And one of the biggest portions of this game is morale and how they, what they're getting done and the morale of the team and the locker room. If you're losing, you're not going to win a lot. It's hard. The momentum and that kind of stuff like that can be very difficult to change. And one of the big things about this game is a lot of people complain about is in the middle of the season in December or January, you may be winning every game up until then. And then all of a sudden in January, late December and January, you can't win a game to save your life. And your locker room morale starts to nosedive, and your team chemistry starts to nosedive. and it takes a lot to get it back, and that's when you start having those slumps. The best thing, there are a lot of things you can do in between to hopefully keep that from happening. One of them is win. And it's funny because when you set up a team to do, like, I'll show you that here in a little bit because I'm about to get ready to do that. But then you have your targets and promises, and I hate making promises. I hardly ever make promises. I don't care if they, if they recommend that's what I make. I never make promises because if you don't make them, you don't have to keep them, and that way you don't have a problem with them becoming an issue if you don't keep them. You get your injury update once a week. Now I'm going to go in here and I want to do some scheduling because I need to schedule some friendlies. So we have a friendly coming up on the 8th. So we got a friendly in 3 days. Then we have one 3 days later. Then we have one 2 days later. Then we have another two. Then we go all this time. I normally set my friendlies up from the bottom. And I will go 4 days out for this one. Pick a date. And unless, like, you can actually make money from friendlies. You don't make money from every friendly. But there are some teams that you will see that it'll say a fee and then it'll give you how much you make. And it's very rare, and it normally comes from teams up here. And you will see, like, okay, so, and I know there won't be any make from this because if I want to play Celtic B, I would have to, it would cost me $4,560 to play them. But you never make any money. Even if you were to go there, you don't make any money. See, there's no fee there. We're playing at home. You go away. Oh, but you only make $3,000, so you're actually going to lose $1,000, and the board wouldn't approve it because it's too far away. So what I like to do is I usually play the nearby teams, especially in the first season. And I don't care if I play teams that are in my actual division because you only play them twice a year. You only got 22 games. You need to play them, and if you play them now and you don't play them again until later, so be it. But you do that, and you can go all through all of them. You can pick any team that's available. Then I will space them out 3 days. And you want to play, for me, I find that 7 to 10 games a preseason is great. Except for the very first year, I will play as many games as I can play. And I will stretch them in between like this because it builds, even though you don't win, it doesn't matter. You could get your butt kicked. It doesn't matter. If you do lose a friendly, it will hurt your morale. If you come into a season and you have not won any friendly matches, you will have problems with your morale. Doesn't matter if you're like, okay, for example, this last preseason on my other game, like I said, we're Division 9, we're level 9, and we played I played 2 championship teams and 2 Vanarama, got it. Vanarama league teams. We beat both of them, and we split 2 ties with the level 2 teams, which for a level 9 team is freaking amazing. And it didn't do anything bad to us because it didn't matter because their stature was so high. We actually made money from them without making money from them because you actually had people come to the game and they were actually there. In this, you'll see, like I said, you might sell 10 season tickets. Okay? First year, you might sell 10 season tickets. And I do play all my games at home. There's no need to travel, and if you're not sharing the stadium, there's absolutely no need not to play them at home. So I play all my games at home. And like I said, when you get to one of these, what will happen is, I don't have any to have that. Okay, so Hennisford Town. Hennisford Town, we are going to spend $823, but we're going to make $1,030. So we're going to make about $200 as a home game. If we go an away game, it'll be $109 each way. It's going to cost us to go there. So you always play the game at home because it's a little bit of money. And even though you're an amateur team, money matters. Now, we're going to play 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 preseason games. And as you can see the schedule, like I said, we're going to play 4 games in September, 4 games in October, or September, October. We're going to play 2 in December, 2 in January, 2 in February, 2 in March, 2 in April, Oh, we'll play the last three in April. We'll play 3 in March and 2 in April. Okay, that's how it goes. You get all these games. They could take one game out of here and move down and move 2 down from here to here, and then move 1 down to here, and just keep doing it. So you space it out where you had no more, like those weeks in between. You play on October 28th, then you don't play till the 12th. So you've got 15 days in between there. Then you play 13 days later. Then you play 15 days again, and you have to sometimes put in, if you notice that you're getting injuries in between, or your players don't look sharp, and you'll notice it just by the, it's just a, for me it's just a feeling. I will usually set up, and again it depends on if I'm being lazy or not. If I'm being lazy, I might not set one up. If I'm not being lazy, I might set one up. But in these games, I will usually put in between the 2 games in the month, I will put a friendly. I don't have to, but I usually will, just to keep your team sharp. And then, like, what happens is, if you have like a playoff, you will play your last game. Here we would play our last game on the 28th of April, day before my birthday. You would play that game, but you may not play the next game for 3 weeks into May if it's a tournament game. Well, actually, the playoff games will play like 3 or 4 days later, and you'll play those real quick. But if you have like a tournament, like for example, if they had a Birmingham and District League Cup, you might not play that League Cup game for 3 or 4 weeks after your last game. You got to set friendlies up, because if you don't, and the funny part is the computer doesn't. I've never seen, because they'll show you, like, you'll see when you get to go to these friendly games, it'll show you different games that are available all over the place, and they all accepted. That one accepted. That one accepted. And where's my moneymaker? There it is. We're gonna make 1,000. Well, they say we're spending 1,000. We're not making 1,000, but it depends. And we may get some people to come watch that one, so we might make some money from it. Your training, I always set it up this way. You can go out and you can download training schedules. There are a ton of those out there. I mean, if you look up FM 24 downloads, Sort It Out has a site. FM Base has a site. I forget the biggest one I go to. I don't remember. That's what it's good to have a phone around. Let's see. You can go to FM Scout, and Scout does a lot of stuff on YouTube too. But you can download all that different stuff. They have tactics you can use, and people go out and they make these unbelievably unbeatable tactics. If you are not familiar, this year they did have a FM World Cup tournament where they had, I'm not even sure how many people now, I can't remember, but they had a bunch of countries got together with their actual football associations and did a tournaments to determine who was going to go. U.S. didn't have one. But you had people from Russia, you had people from India, and actually I believe it was an Indian gentleman that won. And they did different rounds, and then they had the semifinals were different things, and they had the other. And it was amazing, and he actually, you can go out and get his tactic. But his tactic is an unbelievably amazing tactic that if you use it, you pretty much are going to win no matter what you do. And it's pretty much a cheat tactic, but you'll have that. But what's important for the training is, as an amateur training, you see how many days you can train. I get to train on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and I have some on Saturday. That's it. Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, you don't train. You can't do no training. Now, the one thing that they do not include in the basic game training is you get the match practice and you get recovery. Now, I won't never change the recovery, but after a match, and you have to physically go in and do this, you come in here and you have what's called match review. Now, if I go in here and I look at these, it will tell, and when you see this come up, it's because I don't control my training, but what happens is if you go onto the screen and look at this, it will show you the different things that come in for each thing you do. if you use tactics, it will show you. It will slightly reduce your condition. It will increase your team cohesion. Decisions and teamwork will be worked on. Practice does different things. What the review does is it doesn't cost you anything. It will actually increase your cohesion, and it helps you with mentality, passing style, creative freedom, triggering presses, marking, tempo, width, position, role, and duty. Damn, I got itchy throat. So I apologize for that. My throat is like killing me. It's been a while since I've done this. So I'm not used to talk. Well, I can't say that because I do a AEW podcast Tuesdays and Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So I do talk for a little bit, but a couple hours is a long time to be talking for someone that ain't done it in a good long time. But you change that match review because it will allow you. You can only do it the day after a game if you have an available spot. You have to have an available spot. If you don't have an available spot, you got to choose. Like you can't do unavailables. You can't do it on a rest. You have to do it in whatever's available there. You can't do it on a rest if these 2 days would have been rest, then you could change that. You have to do it for yourself I could go through and do the entire year if I wanted to, but I'm not doing that. I do it as it comes up. It gives you a better understanding. You see that green mark, you got that whole black mark where that green bar is going across. That's your tactical familiarity. Shit. See, now this is what sucks. D'Amico Talbot is out for 3 to 4 weeks. He got injured in training. He kicked the ball and he pulled his calf muscle. So he won't be available for the first part of the season, but he should be back. Now, then you have this is the worst thing I hate to do. The media. I don't handle my own media. I handle my like interviews for this kind of stuff, and like when you have like TV interviews for, like if you're in a tournament that's televised or a game that's televised, you will do a television You will do a television interview. I will do those. I will do for people who I hire. And people who are like you don't do it for coaches, but you do it for like players. And I will do it for like if it's required. I don't do it per game. I let my assistant do it because it is the most ridiculously messed up. They're always the same. And I've got a system. This is how I do these. This is fun. I don't need to read it. I already know what it says. And I know that the second option is almost the best. It's not necessarily the over the top of the like you could be doing, but it is one that will, it's a good one to do. And I do this on every one of them I do. Hardly ever do I ever read the things anymore. Now I do have a mod that I downloaded that gives you a wider selection of, and when it comes to like what position I need replaced, I'm not going to answer that question. And you will eventually. Now it will hurt you later on when you go to do, like interviews for other jobs. So let's say we're in level 12. It's going to take us 12 years. I'm 12 years down the road. It's 2035. My in-game personality, I will be 47, and I've gotten Sutton Select up, and they've won the Champions League. They've won a triple. They've won a treble. They won the Champions League. They won the English Premier League, the FA Cup, and they won a quad. Let's just say they won a quad. They won the Carabao Cup too. I'm done. I don't want to play with those guys anymore, but I don't want to lose this save, so I'll go to another country. And the nice thing is, you can actually go in here if you want to. You can go in here anytime you want to, and you can add, where the hell is it? Add or remove leagues. Now, these are the leagues that we have in here. There are 3 leagues down, 3 deep here. This goes down to 12 here, and I could have went to 20. And I actually can add them if I want to. 2 here, 3 here, 1 here, and 1 here. Oh, I'm sorry, 2 and 4. Okay, so this is the U.S. They have Major League Soccer, USL Championship, USSF Division 3, and the USL League 2. That's a design. Somebody made that up. Now, if I want to come in here and I want to add one, that's all you got to do. You come over here. You go to add a league. In Africa, I can add any of these leagues. I can go to Asia and add any of these leagues. I can come to Europe. I can add any Europe league that's on here. I can add any North American league, and they're not just North America. I always thought that North America. I didn't pay attention because I didn't really know. I didn't realize that North America included all the little island leagues and stuff like that. I was always thinking it was like America, Canada, and Mexico. Look how many you can add. Okay, you can come down here to Oceania, and you can add any of these leagues. And then again, in South America, you can add any of these leagues. And you can add them down to the level of the depth that you want to. So, for example, I could come in here. If I wanted to, I could add the Italian league. Where are we at here? We can go to the Italian league all the way down to Escalanza and above. I can go in and add the Irish league. I get 2 of there. We can come down here and we can add the Scotland league. They go all the way down to the 5th league and higher. These were all designed. The ones like this were all designed by people who took the time to go into the editor and find those leagues and created them. Like I said, this one can go all the way down to League 20 if I really wanted to. I can't do it now, I don't think. But those are the different leagues you can add. There are some people who will add every freaking league in their thing. They have computers that can do that. Could you imagine that? I mean, the reason why I add all 6 places, all those different areas, is because the way FM works is I have added England. So all the countries generally around England will get exposure. Those players will, like Italy and Ireland and Wales and Scotland and Northern Ireland and Italy and Spain and all those adjacent countries will be pretty good amount of players there. They'll be seen. By adding a team in Oceania, the teams around that will get exposed to that league. So they'll be, if you don't add them, there's a possibility down the road that you will not have any players left to in those leagues to keep those leagues going, and it will become it will crash your system. By adding them, it generates new players with those nationalities and in those teams, and keeps those teams active so that they actually have to have teams and players. So it keeps your database going. There's other ways of doing it, but I like doing it this way because I can control who it is, and I can control what leagues are there, and I can decide if I want to add more. And like I said, if I get through all 6 of these and I find something that I'm done and I'm like, I don't want to start, I can add new ones. I can get rid of ones. I can add new ones. So that's one of the nice things about this league is it lets you evolve and keep going and keep going. So, you know, it's one of those cool parts about it. So we are about to go to one of the, I don't know which one's coming up first. We'll get to Trialist. So we're going to get to see a little bit of the English Trialist 4 versus English Trialist 3. And you'll see what the game looks like when you get to that point after I set it up real quick, because it takes you to do that. And this is the scouting. So in order to, you've got different things you can look at that will tell you like what you need to do. And what the scout planner, the squad planner will tell you what you have in position, and the red ones are the ones you definitely need. Yellow ones you're okay with. I'm not okay with only having one. I need more. He's a 2. So you go through these and you can see there's not a lot of great players in those positions. I want those players to be 3 solid gold or better. 2 solid gold or better are good. I mean, they'll work. But you can't just go through and have, like, I definitely need some players there. So you come back here. You go back out here. You go to the scouted players. And now you can set up what are called recruitment focuses. Now, these are all the players that have been scouted by that your people have knowledge of. You see how many of them are like that. The rating, this is probably the best way to decide if you want to play or not. But I know I need this guy, so I'm just going to do this. I'm going to approach to sign him. I'm going to hit that button. He's going to be a star player. I don't care about any of the other stuff unless there's promises. I'm going to go ahead and hit that up. Okay, so that's one. I need I need players for everybody. I don't have a real, but I'm not going to try to transfer him because he plays for team. Oh man, he would be so great to have. And see, the thing about this, when you play this enough, you know players that you've seen before. Now, why the hell can't I try to sign him? That makes no sense. Metcalf, DL. Okay, so I'm going to try to sign him. You can do, now, like, this is the issue you have when you do these. These will be where the promises come in. He wants me to work on getting attackers. Well, I already know that, but I'm not going to make that promise because if for some reason you can't hire attackers between now and the certain amount of time, he'll get mad about it and it'll hurt your team. So you just eliminate. There's no need to have those. Absolutely no need to have them. I need a goalkeeper. Osia is a good goalkeeper. I've had him. He's also 35. Like I said, a lot of these guys that are in this game are in here, but there are a ton of new gens that come in every time you start the game again too. There are guys I'm not going to know. There's going to be guys I do know. And the guys I do know, I know what I can do when I get them. Is it cheating to do that? No, it's not cheating. It makes it interesting. When you're doing rebuilds and stuff like that, you don't want to use the same players all the time because what's the point? If I'm going to go out and get Lamine Yamal every time I have a team, what's the point in doing a different team? Because it's the same player all the time. And you don't, there's going to be other stuff you can do. Oh, I see Daniel French. Why not? And again, there'll be players you see in different leagues you won't see in this league. And like these guys here, I'm not going to, okay. You see this guy as a 5-star. And he's an A+. This rating here is based off of what the scouts think of that player. So you see this guy who's only a 1-star now, but has the potential to be a 5-star later. He gets an A+ because the scouts have extensively scouted him, and they think he's going to be a stud. Will he help your team out now? No. You have to get him. You have to either loan him out, or you have to keep him, or find somewhere for him to get away to play. And if he's a 1-star and you're not going to be using 1-star players, you're better off not to get them unless you're. And I know if you're here and you've ever been at Zealand, you're going to hear the one thing that man loves to do more than anything else, and that's sing about loans. And I don't mind doing loans. I just don't do loans in especially like anything 12 or lower, because one, it's very difficult to get players to loan to come here. I hardly ever put players out to loan for me because nobody's going to take my players. I could sign that guy today and look to get it, because the best way to improve players if you can't play them on a regular basis is to loan them out. And it guarantee it works. I've seen it work and I've done it. It works great. But again, the problem comes in that you can't, in order for me to get this player here to this stop, is to bring him in, put him in as a striker, and let him play every single game that he can play. Play in every game he can play in as much as he can play. First part of the season is not easy to do. Second half of the season, you can play the same. You have the same starting team almost every single time. Lack for injuries or some other reason, red cards or suspensions or whatever. But you'll have the same team, especially in the lower leagues. If you play a game once a week, you don't have to ever change your team. Never have to change your team. You never have to change the team at all, because they can all stay and they're not going to be outwinded or anything, and you're not going to have a hard training session. So you can leave this. I can pick my starting 11 for the first game and never change it up the rest of the season if I don't want to. Don't have to. There's no reason to. When you start getting in like the one I'm playing offline, I'm in the middle of October. We have played 35 freaking games. We play every third, or there's even times where we've played second games because of all the we're in the Isuzu FA Cup, or FA Vase, the FA Cup, the NCEL, there's one other one, and the league. So we've got 5 different things going on at the same time. Okay, so I have 3 games in hand in my league. I'm in 3rd place. 3 games in hand, 6 points out of first, 3 games in hand. I'm sorry, 3 points out of first, 3 games in hand. I have lost 1 game in the league. I have not lost in the tournament. I've lost 1 game in the league. So we've played 35 games. I'm 34-1. 34-0-1. I'm sorry. No, I did tie 1. 33-1-1. I have not lost in the league. They can say that we're not going to, you depending on how you look at it, you can sit there and go, well, you're not doing that great. You're not in first place. But if I win the 3 games I have in hand, I have a 6-point lead, and I'm cruising. So, and there's 38 games to play there. So we're not even close to half the season done. We're in October, and we've been playing games left and right. I've got more people injured this year than I've ever had, and I've got players that I can't keep playing because they just aren't ready. And you find that out when you get to the point where you'll see on the tactic screen in a minute. But when you do this is how I set up especially when I'm down here. And I only usually set up 1. Okay, you choose any of because I have 3 of them. I could choose any of these 3 to go after, but I'm going to use them all. So I want players that can play any position. You're clicking that from the tactics. Okay, you come over here and it's going to be any role. I don't care about the roles. You can get as specific as you want. And I will do transfers and loan on this, and they will go from that, and they will go. I want them to have at least 2-star and have a minimum of a 3-star potential. Okay, I will usually do this to about age 27, 28. Do any, make it ongoing, and then don't put other people that are already in there, and then I'll go. Now, I've already got 5 players. Okay, I could sign all 5 of these guys and they would make a difference for me. But there's one small problem with that. They're all on teams. Click on here. If it says approach to sign, that means he doesn't have a contract and you can approach him to sign him. Will he come play for you? Maybe. Will he not? Who knows? We'll find out in a minute. All right, in a little while. This is the only problem with this is it takes forever. Because sometimes, and here's the thing that's different between upper leagues and lower league. In the lower leagues that I'm in, they have one time where there isn't signing allowed, and that's from like the end of March to the beginning of May. There is no transfer window closed in these leagues. It doesn't start until you get up towards the 6th or 7th tier. Then it's like a regular thing. You can sign players all the way through that. You don't have to worry about it. The problem with that is, and it sucks because when you do that, these guys they're on a team, so they don't really have to go anywhere if they don't want to. And you really don't have a way to force them to sign for you. So even if he wants to sign for me, it might be until March before his dumbass decides to sign for me. Kind of sucks. It really makes a big difference later on when you become a semi-pro team and you actually put in money, because the game will set aside that money for you. It will take if I have like $1,000 that I can spend, let's say I got $10,000 I can spend on payroll, and I go to sign 5 players at $2,000 a year, and I do mine on years. I don't like the weekly bullshit. I do it on year. I want to know what I'm spending, so I ain't got to worry about it. If it takes that money out of my thing, and that man takes until 5 months to sign, and you don't have that money to spend, if it does let you sign another player at that, the problem comes in then you're going to go over budget. Now, you can see here at the top of the screen, it tells you all your stuff. I have 1 active recruitment level. I'm going for level 12, which is level M, and I have 23,000 to spend. Now, the thing is, that's only $1,800 a month. So I will have scouting from now until it's going to cost $21,000. So I'll have scouting the whole year and still have $2,000 left over in the scouting budget. So if I wanted to, sometimes you can take the scouting budget and you can put it into the other sides and go there. But because we're amateur, we don't need that, because we're not signing players that have a salary, and we're not signing players that have things. So if any of these guys would have had a contract, I wouldn't have been able to sign them unless they don't want any money for them. Then you get them on a free, then you can do that. But since all of them don't have contracts, I can approach to sign them, and if they want to come play for me, they'll come play for me. That's the biggest problem with being in the in the lower leagues, because you will get hammered. And I've had players where I've had the best players, and a lot of your players, and sometimes that's based on like, hey, Rui Soper's coming to manage for us. Cool. There are women people in here in different spots you can have. FM25 was supposed to have women's leagues. A lot of people got pissed off about that. I have one word to say to you: shut up. If you don't like women's, this is the way I look at it. If they add women's football to FM, and you don't like it, don't play it. It's that freaking simple. You don't have to complain about it. You don't have to go out and say, "Oh, I think this is going to ruin the game." It's not going to ruin the game. It's going to give you more things to do. Shut up. You know, it makes no sense. None whatsoever. So on this screen is something they're getting rid of, or they were going to get rid of in FM26.5, is the your Facebook and your social media. I don't really pay much attention to it because it's just stuff made up in the game. The other column I do pay attention to, because what this is this gives you all the different things that you can follow that will give you information in the news screen. I always follow the countries, and I try to follow as many leagues as I possibly can, because I want to. This is what you can do is when you come to your news screen, which will show up again here soon. We hired Soper. All right, Metcalf. See somebody else is trying to get Metcalf and Tongue and Humphreys. So Souter is also going to sign. It's one of my. I gotta do that. I forgot to look. So this is your staff screen. This is where you have everybody that's available. I do not have. I applied for a high performance analysis, so I don't need to add that one. I got for a chief scout, and that's all we need. We already got one scout, and then this has just been filled. So when these two places are filled, you're good. You can look at, like, okay, for example, I get my reports are all done about my players. Well, I go to my screens and I look at the different star values. They're all being determined and shown to me by Callum Winkleman. Okay, I think that's my assistant coach. So we're going to come back here for a second, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about and why this is important. Okay, Callum Winkleman. His tactical knowledge and nudging player ability and potential is a 5 and a 6. That's great, especially in a lower league. That's awesome. 5 and 6. Now, if you want to know if there's anybody better that will give you a better result, you come down here, you click on this team. I'm sorry, you do it up here. Coaching team, and it'll show you this all here, and you can go in here and you can look at their coaching attributes. And that's not the one I want the other one. You can look at their mental attributes. Okay, so my assistant coach is a 5 of 5. That's Winkleman. Oh, I'm sorry, 5 of 6. He's the best one on that team. 5 of 6 on that team. You want it to be somebody from your coaching staff because they have the most experience with your players. They're coaching them. They see them all the time. Generally, you want your scouting staff to be better than your other staff. And he's a 6 and a 4, which isn't too bad. I prefer them to have better potential than. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. It's 4 and 1. I prefer them to have better potential than the other, than the active, because the current, because to me the current changes too much based on other players on your team. It's not so much to me, and I found this in my experience, that it doesn't really make that big a difference on the potential. If you go and you see, like when I get one of these players come in, you'll see what I'm talking about. So like these ratings here are done by, they're the ones that come in from my Winkleman, who is my assistant coach. He's the one that's determining what he thinks the players are. When you go to the squad screen, these ratings are based off of him. If I change that, which I can do, you can go in and you can change it to a different person. It will show, like, for example, squad planner. Yeah, this is where you do it. This is from him, okay? If I want to change that to Jordan Spittle McParland, it will change what they show. Okay, now he's showing that it might be the same, but then again, it might not be. Okay, and that's how you can figure out what's best. The better your player, the better they are able to do that, the better your chances of being getting better players and having them come in. So we know that Ian Kerrigan has a 5 of 5. He's 27 years old. He's a star player. He's a winger. I didn't get any new wingers. Okay? But I did try to get some new players. So when those new players come in, these are going to change, most likely. And when they do, it could make the problem with that is, like I said, this isn't going to change. Okay? His potential is not going to change, but his current will. He might drop to a 4.5. He might drop to a 4. He might go all the way down to a 3. The problem with that is it doesn't change these. Their attributes don't change. They do change. There are a lot of things that can affect their attributes. Tiredness, injury, that kind of stuff. But they're not going to drop. Like, for example, his long throws of 14 is not going to drop. Maybe 1 or 2 because if he gets hurt. Let's say he has an arm injury. It might drop down. But it's not going to drop if he has a better player come in with more stars that causes his stars to go down. It's not going to change. Those are not going to change. So if you want to know the best way to pick the best players in that position, in positions on your team when you're doing it, don't rely on the current ability. Okay? Don't rely on it. Don't worry about it. Go with the other. Because in the long run, you're going to be better off looking at these. I will do both. I don't necessarily look at these and I don't let, like I said, I do this game a little different than other people. I pick the team that I want. I go based off of their stars, and I will then go in like I was doing before, and I will adjust them. I think that a player with 2.5, like, okay, he's hurt. Can't do nothing with him. This player, to me, is stronger than this player. Although, see the little green thing I'm going to do here? They think this should be the player that I play in that position. But personally, I've found that they don't play as well as the 1.5 because, and it helps you with that player. That's the big thing. So, you know, there's those little things like that are interesting. Who's this? There's my chief scout. So now I've got all my scouting. Now, one of the most important things you have to do in this is you have to make sure you have scouts. Oh, Jesus. Sorry. Struggling today. Okay. You got to make sure you have enough scouts because right now I have 2 scouts. I have a chief scout and a scout. They can do two search lists without a problem. Okay? If I go to do a third one, they're not going to do them on a regular basis. They're not going to get great updates. You want to try to keep your recruitment focuses to the number of things you have. Now, there'll be later on where you're going to have, once you get higher up, you may have 20, 25 scouts and only have 5 recruitment office things. But that's great because then you have more people working on it, you get better results. All right, so Kinko is a free transfer. He's a player. He's a 25-year-old striker. Now, remember what those guys look like. We'll see here in a second. He is a 3-star and a 4.5 and a 5. I'm going to have my dude here welcome him to the team. I'm going to come over here to my tactics screen. Did that change? Oh, let's go into the squad. Did that change any of their things? No, it did not. Okay, there is a certain number of players that will affect that eventually. Okay, it doesn't necessarily. It's not just going to be one player. It's going to be a few players. Now, do I want to replace him with? Do I want to put him in? Where the hell did he go? Okay, so that's who we just signed, right? Yeah, Jennings. So now this is based off of the playing position that they are in right now. He's the same as the other two, but we know he's better than that. So what do? You got to look and see if it's that, and it is. He should be playing as a poacher on attack. Oh, look at that. He's a 3. So you replace whichever one you want to replace, and eventually you'll know like their average and stuff like that, their average rating, their goals, and stuff like that. You can help to determine it. But like I said, once we get to a starting rotation, a starting team, in the lower leagues especially, you do it to get the people experience, and you want players to play, and they will bitch if you don't. Don't get me wrong. His name is Ganiko. Ganiko. Okay, we got Ganiko Jennings who's gonna play for us, and so is Rosario Fernandez. All right, check that out. They got another player. So this could start now, depending on what he is. I don't know. He's a 5-star, but he's a 2, so he may not even get to play. He is another striker. So I can tell you right now, he's just been signed for depth. Now, you saw that. This is the screen that will come up, and this is where we're going to watch a little bit of this match. We're not going to watch much because I'm going to get off of here soon, and I'm going to need some food. And wrestling's on tonight, and that's just the way it is. But we're off to a great start. I hope you guys are having a good time. I thank you guys for stopping in and saying hi. Vittini Blast, and let's see, who else did we have stop in? I know there was another or two. Victini, and where'd the other one go? Quacker Z. You guys, I'm glad you guys came in. It was nice to meet you. I hope you guys don't put up with too much problem from my son, but you know. So, this is going to start this match. Now, this is the original way you played FM or CM. This was it. You didn't have this. Now, when we play the games, this is how we will play them. That's not how we'll play them. We'll play them on TV. We will get down as close to this as we can. Fuck. I usually don't do that, but I'm gonna do it now because it's good to have on there. Now, these other things will be like the speed offline when they're not showing the game. Most players play this just like one shot there. Now, this isn't bad looking. To me, this looks pretty good. You get to watch the game, and this is what you do. It doesn't take forever. It goes decently speed-wise. And like I said, you're going to see some crazy stuff on this sometimes. You get all your information here. The only thing that's missing on this is your line of telling you who's playing, and your there's like shouts you can do, but the shouts honestly are useless. I hardly ever use them because they don't do anything for you. That looks pretty freaking good, to be honest with you. I'm loving this. Now, like, you can watch it at different levels. You can watch it at, like, I usually use it on the extended highlights, but you can go to comprehensive highlights, which will show you even more of the highlights, which is sometimes good. Now, they'll show you, like, occasionally you can change it to watch, like, they'll show you, like, the setups and stuff. You can watch this. You can angle different. You can watch it on sideline. You can watch it this way. This is what is they just started this, I think, around 2008, 2009. That was the last time I played it before I played 23 because I didn't have a controller then, or I didn't have a computer. So I kind of was out of touch for a while, but and he crossed it in. Oh, he got deflected. Nice. I will not be doing a play-by-play. I may talk about stuff that comes on, but most of the time we're going to sit here and we're going to watch this together because I will do my tactical moves and stuff like that. I'm not one to change tactics in the middle of the game. I did not put the game together. For y'all to, I'm not going to come in here and I'm not going to change up and change. You know, I put a tactic in. That's the tactic we're using for the game. The only time I'll make changes is if we get like a red card or an injury. You'll make those changes. You have to make substitutions. But nice goal. Nice goal. Simmons. Nice goal. Throw in. And Mr. Thompson back to Hammonds. Hannum. Nice header. Oh, that was beautiful. He got position on him. He did a nice header. That was beautiful. But this is what it looks like. This is what we'll look like when we play. This is what it'll look like when we ain't playing. Because, you know, like I said, I will not be, like, I'm not playing this game. There's no sense in it. I don't need to watch my play. There's not enough information from watching. It was 2-0. That's not bad. There's not enough information to gain from those players in that game. You're not gonna. I mean, it's to me, it just doesn't make sense. I'm not gonna learn anything more than I can learn from the box score watching it. That's just me, though. This screen right here is a good screen because this is your training week in review, and eventually you'll get buttons here and more names, and you get average rating, and you'll get these red ones. Anybody 7.7 or above, I will, and this not anybody. I don't go into all the way down because I could look it up. I could go up here and hit the thing, and I could look at every player, and I could do every player. I don't. That's not necessary to me. I do the ones that come up here, top 3. Bottom 3 will get reprimanded. It's nice when these are all white. You don't have to do this, and this is above a 7. Highest I ever had was I had an American team I was playing a while back that was in a league that I'm not using anymore. That I had an 8.9 was the high 8.71. I think was the highest ever rating I've ever had here. Highest English rating I've ever had is a 7.31. And I don't know why, but it just makes a difference. Now see, they say I was spotted there. The reason you would watch that game, because those are the youth that are coming in this year to England, and you can find out information about them doing your own scouting. That's the only reason to use that. I personally would not use that for anything else because I don't see the need of it. And sometimes these are just I hate meetings like this because they don't tell you something you don't already know. Now, see, they're telling me now it was yellow before, now it's red. Why? Because his rating dropped. Why? Because we added 2 new players that took his rating down from a 1.5 to a half. That's not a good. But did it change any of his stuff? No. And you see, none of his stuff has changed. And I mean, he's got some stuff in here that makes him okay. His potential is only 2, and the 2 is what you want your lowest to be. He's not a great goalkeeper. In this league, will he do the job? Heck yeah. Now, this is what you get when you get these weekly, like you have intermediaries will give you players like this. You can shortlist them. Now, I will later on do a more than one shortlist because I can hear it right now. If Zealand was to watch me do this, he would be throwing a fit. I only have one. You only have one. Yeah, I only have one. Because in the lower leagues, they're either on the list or they're not. And I don't use my short list like that until I get higher up because there's absolutely no reason to. Because I'm not going to get to sign players. And see, I got to attend this meeting. I just attended this damn meeting. Why am I attending the same meeting again? I don't understand. Oh, maybe I didn't go all the way through it. But see, they'll tell you players that like makes no. Why would I transfer list a player that's a 1 thing or a 2 when there is no fee? He has no contract, so I don't need to transfer list him. If a team wants him, he's going to come in. If he doesn't want to play for me, I'm going to send him on his way. So I'm not paying him, so it doesn't matter. For me, I don't know what the hell I would put him on there for. There's no reason to put him on the transfer list when I'm not going to use the transfer list. Now you'll get this, you'll get to do your setup, but now it won't do the same here, but like on now like this is where you find all the different matches for the day, and some have already been played and others. These you can see any of these games. You can go and click to view live match. I can watch any match I want to there, whether it's my match or not. So that's kind of a cool thing that you could do on this. So I will go to team selection. We already got our team selected. There's no need to. I'm gonna do this one more time just because I want to see what it does. And we're gonna do that. And it puts him in there, and he's hurt, so we do that. And we're gonna go here. And we're gonna put in Miles Spinks. I think that's his name. We're gonna do this. We're going to put a different player in there. Don't really matter. Just any player that's not already on the list. Monastery. We're going to hit the simulate match. Now, this is how you would do this if you're going to simulate the match. It's basically going to go out. It's going to do the exact same thing it did for the last part of that match. And I don't have to watch it. I do that on my own game because, honestly, I love the game. And it's going to give me the same results as if I watch it. And I can play it a lot faster. Like I said, I'm in my October of my 3rd season. I've already got over 20 hours. This game can take forever. But might help if I hit that button. But we'll do this and get all the way to the. We'll make the changes, and a lot of the preseason is just doing these games and seeing if players develop any at all, and bringing them in and getting them, experience and all that good stuff. And that's what preseason is. And what I usually do is I will use the I will come we won that, right? Pay no attention. Yeah, we lost 2-1. Darn it, not good. Now see, this will, like I said, we were to finish second according to the we're getting another one. Jason Thomas. There are some players out there that are just like, there's in FM 23 there is a I believe he's Mexican. There's a goalkeeper that is 43 years old on FM 23 that is always available, almost always will sign with you in the lower leagues, and will for a 43-year-old man will do a guaranteed half your first season. He will shut down. He will have shutouts. At least half your things will be clean sheets every year, and he retires after the first year. Another one of those guys that are just going to be for. Now, see, this is one of those guys. He's only 23. Okay, he's a 23-year-old striker. 2 now, 5-star potential. Okay, the board says it's a B-. They're happy to sign a good player for the future, and whatever. Now, with this guy, okay, he's got heading is 13, first touch 8. He's got natural fitness of 12, but he's slow as Moses. He's only got 5 acceleration and 5 pace, so he's not going to be that great a player to have as a striker. So he's another one of those guys that are there for the. Now, who are we talking about here? Genko Jennings. Now you'll do these every occasionally, and it's exactly the same thing. I don't need to, unless it's a player who is like extremely awesome. I'd never go to the first one because that's like you're over the top happy. This is like you're good with it and you want it to be, it's good things you're saying. And then they'll do this stupid thing where they'll ask you what position you think he's best to play in. I ain't answering it. Because you're not going to put pressure on a player like that. That's the way I look at it. But you get those when you sign new players. I might get one for the last guy, but I doubt it. And this is what preseason is. But once the season starts, it starts to become a lot more different. And like I said, I will I'll let the computer pick. I'll do the auto pick for the rest of the preseason up until the last 3 games. The last 3 games, I will pick my starting lineup, and they will start those 3 games as the starters, and that's how I get them completely ready for the season. And that's my philosophy on doing it. It's one of those things where it is what it is, and we're going to have fun with it. I think this is going to be a real good time. Let me see what's over here. I need to make some food. I'm starting to get hungry. I will be here in the morning tomorrow. It's not going to be too late. I will get up. Now, on Saturday, I will be here. Like I said, I'm going to be here every day. This is one of those things where I'm back to streaming, and this is going to be fun, and I'm going to have a blast with this, and I will be here every day if I can be. I will not be here in the morning on Saturday because it is the day before Mother's Day. Those of you new to the stream will know that my mom is in a nursing home, and we're going to take her, my dad, my brother, son, and I are going to take her to meet my daughter and her family in a little town about an hour and 20 minutes from here for a lunch, and I will be back and I will be live after that. So until then, I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. I will see you tomorrow. Go Sutton Select. Go Sutton United. I'm not saying anything from Mayonnaise United. You guys have a great day. I appreciate you guys for stopping in. I hope to see you again tomorrow. Have a nice night. I'll see you. Peace.